the RevOps and ABM alignment. Today we have Radek Zaleski from Netguru, partner of Netguru, head of growth, and all of that. But I will let him present himself much better. But before that, let me
Yeah.
just do an intro of what we do today and what we have in this podcast. We have a very interesting market out there of the software houses market, which were in a huge golden era a few years back, and then few changes happened. Netguru was one of the leaders in this space of software houses worldwide, and today we will learn more about actually the whole industry as a whole, Netguru as a company, and its growth. And maybe we can learn all, even if we are in software houses, SaaS companies, professional services, from Radek and Netguru's experience. So, Radek, let's just get started. Who are you and who is Netguru?
Nice to see you all. It's usually I'm on the other side. I am doing the interviews, so it's interesting difference
You
here.
can also ask me questions. No issues. Let's just have it.
Oh, yeah, I will. So I'm, as you mentioned, very senior partner. Almost, it will be like 9 years this year at the company. Before that, I was one of the few first customers doing project with a company before it was more famous than it is right now. I'm not the head of
Mhm.
growth, someone else is. Before, I think in 2020, I started a new role, which was mostly very focused on proactive getting to the market, pitching and building relations, so to say, with a team. Since a few months, I am mostly responsible for part of my growth team originally, and right now he's doing this function. Yeah, so it's about me, um, and about the market maybe. So can we skip the market part?
Yes, like we were talking with Radek before, and he was mentioning maybe about gardening. It would be a much better
Yeah,
topic.
gardening
I
is
th-
very cool. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. We didn't choose the right niche for this kind of ups and downs in tech. But yeah, I was just curious before we even go
Yeah.
into the market for the ones that maybe don't know NetGuru that well. Can you tell us a bit about how the company started? What is the company doing? And where is it now after X many years?
Right. So the boring stuff. The company was founded by my good friends Kuba and Victor, and there was also, yeah, one more person involved in those early stages. And it's my opinion. It's not something that is set in stone, or this is the only right history, because the founders have the right to tell the story as they feel it is true. But from my perspective, it was typical company that wanted to do something. The different things were tested, different ideas were pitched, the different business models were being run. I remember NetGuru when it was doing their own products. I remember um, Kuba and Victor Grupa Pracuj. I remember products like Flutter, always in my heart, or Notion clone, as we understand this right now. Unfortunately, it was
Mm-hmm.
Polish Notion clone and like 10 years ahead, so no chance for success. Apart from that, I remember they were doing like e-commerce events, if I recall, or startup
Mm.
events, and they were doing some kind of a consulting. for corporations, and then later it became basically what we know right now, software development services. But it wasn't a straight line. It was
When
rather
was this? 2008, or when was
2008.
this?
I remember 2008, 2010, more or less. I would say it was a lot of different things happening. I remember social games being developed and being a product of a company. So different things were tested, right? Different ideas were tested. And ultimately, it was decided that those professional software development services is
Mm-hmm,
something that is going well. It is something that companies should focus on, right? And I think, if you look at from the context of history, what is worth noting, it was like few years after we started just the time that the broadband internet started to become a thing. And it was a time where the remote working tools started to be, available to the masses, not that
mm-hmm,
expensive.
mm-hmm,
And also, it was a moment where, as the company was born that way, when Ruby on Rails was basically a new hot thing on the market. You can compare the Ruby on Rails, the hotness, right, to right now as hot is maybe not AI, but the low code tools or no code
I
development.
see.
That was the similar thing, right? So if you
Mm-hmm,
add all those things, it was ability to hire people for a very efficient rate, work
mm-hmm,
remotely, and work on a very hot technology. And I think it boosted the company up and allowed to start this business at scale. This is how I remember it. And I joined the company in 2015, which was
mm-hmm,
a start of say professional growth, where the decision was made that the company. And I think it was like before that, it was like a conscious decision that it's not going to be something that just happened and we are on the ride, but rather this is something that we are going to manage and to try to grow as a company. And I remember that we designed. Right now, I know this, but then I had no clue uh, that we designed some kind of a strategy for this growth. It was basically we wanted to change the portfolio of our customers, not only small startups, but also the bigger ones and corporations. We want to broaden the services that we have from focusing on Ruby on Rails to be able to develop other technologies and to be able to grasp the whole, so to say, value chain from the customer perspective. So not only developing things, but also designing things or thinking about things, and then being able to maintain them and grow with the customer. So that was by design how we try to scale the company, right?
mm-hmm,
And moving
mm-hmm,
fast forward, so this our you know, talent here locally in European Union on a very good rates. It was the market to be in. And how I see it after all of those years, I think we kind of were that was very early adopter in a lot of things that were done. Is it in sales, marketing, positioning, or what to do, which platforms to use, and we had a lot of copycats basically trying to do similar things as we were doing. And I think we were a part of this big movement of so-called software houses. I hate the word, but I know it's being used. Uh, and a lot of companies were founded before. A lot of cool brands were built. A lot of money was made, and now we are here, 2024, where everything goes a bit different direction because the market is changing a lot, right? So
mm-hmm.
that's a
So
that's a short history of a company.
I would like to go into that, but I'm just curious about this whole growth era, because I looked at the like 12 companies in Poland, right? And
Mhm.
usually all of the companies are like 16, 17, 20 years old. In this industry, I don't know how to name it, so I would say like software consulting, software development type of companies. And we see a huge gap in terms of what type of um, markets and what companies you guys captured. Even if I look at purely on the demand generation and what you were able to, the visibility that you guys have. And I'm talking here data, right? Like even if I go data with SEO or ads that you do, like I'm just wondering, like how come that huge gap? Like what was that things that you believe that you guys did really well compare anybody else when it comes to growth? Because the gap is big.
I think I've lost you for a second. You mean by gap that we are much more visible than the other companies in the market?
Correct.
Is that
Yes, 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 yes.
uh,
Correct.
so? Is this a professional podcast, Romeo, or is it like we can talk like friends?
You can talk like friends for sure.
Okay, so I will talk like friends. So the uh, the reality is that I joined the company as a head of growth in 2015 with zero experience in selling professional services, none.
Mm,
Right? I was a co-founder of a startup producing uh, mobile games. I did a lot of pitching, semi-successful. We had some traction, but my CRM for pitching was basically Trello board. Um,
which is
the-
good enough.
it kind of worked, right? I had zero knowledge about B2B marketing, B2B sales, or anything. I was basically trusted by the gut by, sorry, I need to close my window, by Kuba and Victor, who gave me this huge chance, right, to do this. And
Yeah.
my previous experience was e-commerce in media.
Mm.
So imagine what I started to do. What's your thinking?
For sure, content.
Of course, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and why?
Because you came from media company and you realize that content consumption is something that could bring more visibility if people talk about you, basically.
So, I mean, thank you for these kind words, but I am a very simple person. So basically, I did reverse engineering, and I was looking, okay, how we got customers, and I was
Uh-huh.
reverse engineering every good customer was reverse engineered, and I tried to put attribution to it, and I tried to say, okay, so if we want more, how do we copy this process and how I can expand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had no knowledge on how do you do professional sales in high ticket professional B2B services. I thought you
Mm-hmm.
can do everything online, content, lead gen, conversion rates, SEO, SEM, affiliations. This is what email marketing, A/B testing. This was my main focus, right? But
Mm-hmm.
from the full industry perspective, it was, mm, you know, maybe not idiotic, but for sure innovative, because in this industry, this type of go to market is not heard about.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, very senior business development people who are meeting other people in their offices, and that's your channel. There's no website, there's no content, there's no nothing, there's no conversion. Or you have people in basically sales floors calling other people mobile. It's a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
completely different world, right?
So how much time did it take to see the dividends from all this
So
content and
right,
media
so
house that you were doing?
just just let me finish, because this story makes sense once you understand. So
Sure, sure.
Uh, so this is why I've started doing all that, right? And this is a great question about dividends because it's not fast, it's not immediate,
Yeah.
it takes time. But I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of grew with the market, but because we did a lot of those things, and I think we did them very well, we saw a compound interest rate. So
Mm-hmm.
each win became bigger each year, more and more visibility, more and more leads, more and more about everything, right? And I think it was all what was also us helping us. It's the different demographics hit the market.
Mm.
So decision makers were maybe a bit older than me, those
Mm-hmm.
top people
Mm-hmm.
in top companies, a bit older or maybe my age. So they were used to using those digital channels to choose vendors, like googling, vetting online, passively buying by consuming information. And I think for us it was a huge win because we were able to tap onto this market. We weren't able to tap onto the other markets because we had even no clue how to do them. Right? We were remote first company, marketing first company, without proper field sales, field consultants going from door to door or calling people. Right? So it paid dividends each year, each quarter. This compound interest grew, and I think it was a huge part of our success that we were able to do that. And going back to your question about this gap, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think we put a lot of effort to think through this process. Where we want to be visible, how KPIs, low, medium, high intent keywords. Prospects are remarketing visibility, events, syndicated content, email marketing. We spent gazillion of effort to make sure that works. And comparing to the other companies, I believe we had much better resources because that's one thing I did not tell. That both founders and later Marek was our CEO. They really believe that you have to invest in marketing and visibility in brand to be successful. So they were always super happy to spend money on it, right? And the other companies, I will give you an example, were more happy to spend on the number of salespeople, which
I got it. Mm-hmm.
can give you different outcome, but it won't give you this visibility.
Yeah. So initially it was more like a gut feel that okay, I need to do media and content, and then it became more a structured and organized way of doing things. This is what I understand.
Yeah, this is how I feel, and I believe through the years how how was what was my thinking process. The funny thing is, if you would put me in the time machine back to the past, I would probably do the different things. That's the most ironic things because probably I would invest or try to invest much more into proper, hardcore CRM outreach systems, maybe cold calling, that kind of a thing, right? I learned a lot of about those things from my UK colleagues who I worked with at Netguru. It's completely different culture, completely different mindset.
Yeah.
Traditional, but also based in years and years and years of experience. And we were so innovative, but also so naive doing those things, which worked, but they were basically different, right?
Yeah. So when it comes to this era, what we see that a majority of the companies or like the software houses grew in that period because the demand was there.
Yeah.
Just to dissect, like why the demand was so high back then versus now, like what was
Mhm.
happening in the market that like
Yeah.
everybody needed developers or
So I think there are three things here. So first of all, this famous zero interest rate phenomena called ZIRP,
Mm,
right? There's a lot of free money on the market that allowed you to get funding, spend this money on building things, maybe without traction, and because it's not your money, so you could hire an agency to build it. That's one thing, but I think it's just recent history. just a few years after the COVID, or during the COVID. I think what was the main thing is that um, after the first dot-com crash, there was this period of time when the new companies emerged, like Google or Facebook, and they became, stars of this new market. They IPO'd, everybody got rich. The MySpace guy sold his company. The Twitter was built. It IPO'd. There was this feeling that if you build an app or a mobile app, you're going to get rich. That's it,
Mm,
and you have to
mm.
build an app. And the whole culture, the whole thing was basically the people who were building apps, they were heroes. Like, I
Mhm.
have my own startup, I'm cool. And there was this, HBO comedy series about this
Yeah,
phenomenon.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
everyone was building an app, right? So that's, I think that's the main thing, right? And if you look at the corporations, so what corporations are doing is they're like, oh, these cool kids from startups, they are doing apps. We need to do an app because it's,
Yeah.
clearly, if they're doing an app and they're on TechCrunch, we have to do it. It's obvious, right? So
Yeah, about this, by the way, there is a great book called Lab Rats by
mhm.
Dan Lyons. He was one of the script writers of the HBO series.
Yeah, former HubSpot employee.
Yeah, and he writes about the HubSpot culture, and it's like a brilliant book. I really recommend it to everyone listening. And can it encapsulates a bit like what was happening in that period of time, I think.
Right. So, cool kids are building, B2B SaaS companies. Not so cool kids at enterprises are copying those SaaS,
Hmm.
MVPs, whatnot. Everybody is saying we need to top-notch design. Like, we need to UX has to be perfect. Have you seen Revolut? Right? We
Hmm.
need to be like everyone is, quoting such, case studies, success stories, etc. But unfortunately, COVID comes. Everyone is frightened. Everyone is like, "Oh my God, the planet Earth is dying. Now we need to focus on essential workers." And what happens? It does not happen. Everybody says we need more software, even more software. So it goes, this up, right? And during this period, especially Polish developers, Polish designers, they have very good press, top press. We are like, this region, Poland, Romania, Ukraine, basically Central Europe, has a great brand for talent, which is affordable
Mm,
price, top quality of English, top quality of work. So if you add to those things, it became like a huge surge on this market that, allowed a lot of companies like ours as well to ride the wave and basically go up, right? Now,
mhm.
what I think is happening right now, unfortunately, is that a lot of investors, a lot of companies, because of the higher rates, is asking a question. So, okay, we have the app. Can this app make money? And
Wrong question.
it shouldn't be ever asked. I think it's a wrong question.
Exactly.
I would I would never ask this question. It's nonsense. I would focus on the new features. If we add new features, the app for sure will make money. But
Exactly.
somehow those questions are being asked, right? And
Mm, yeah.
especially in fintech, we work with top fintech companies, and especially in fintech, those questions are really difficult, right?
Yeah.
um, because you have like top brands that we worked with or we work with, top brands, right? Top companies, but
Yeah,
their
yeah.
whole business model requires cheap capital to work efficiently. If you don't
Mhm,
have cheap capital, it kind of it will be very hard for those companies to make any money. So
mhm,
that's one issue, right? And for all of those B2B SaaS companies, growth, not that great at efficiency, which means profitability. So what is happening? A lot of those companies are improving their bottom line by either laying off people, which hurts us, but also, which is more important, by getting rid of other B2B SaaS and other solutions. So
Mm.
if it happens, all the ecosystem is being hit. So imagine you have a if you have a company, say, good example, let's say you have Salesforce, right? And let's say Salesforce is using certain B2B solution for ten 10K people, it means 10K licenses are being removed from someone else's revenue. So this company has to do like, oh, we just lost 10K licenses. We need to remove something. Maybe let's get rid out of this B2B hiring solution. And then it becomes like a wave, right? So this is current situation in my view. There is a huge mood of thinking, okay, what about the software? Can we ever make margin? Can we get to profitability? There's this huge race to profitability which hits the whole market. The market is stressed, and the issue arises, right? And the current market situation that hits us as well, um, frankly speaking, is I think the result of this realization that now it's time for profits, not only building new stuff or growth, right? And on the corporate side, it is rather questioning those innovation programs or software programs. Like you have like a legacy organization selling insurance that built top digital solution,
Apps and yeah.
and the solution gives you like 10% margin if you could do using standard sales, and the
Mm-hmm.
questions are being asked like why we even build this thing, which is you know not a bad question, right? So this is
Yeah,
the current situation, like in my opinion.
and I wanted to ask you this because yeah, we are here on a more marketing podcast, but I'm curious, like, okay, so this whole tech layoff happened, and we are back to collecting dividends from that content media and from that, because maybe you don't have the employees to do those engines that you mentioned, the sales, the callings, and so on. So you are still relying on what you initially thought that it would be good, which is the media and the SEO and the content. Do you guys see it that now you still collect the dividends of those decisions done back then, and this strategy was somehow um immune to what happened in the market?
So there is a good and a bad answer for this
Mm,
for us. So I think it pays enormous dividends because even though we see less leads incoming, for
mm-hmm,
sure, you can see the acceleration of the number of leads. Still, it is a very substantial number of inbound inquiries coming to you. Top brands, top companies, you know, that is happening. Also, because of our processes that we built around CRM and our understanding of the space, we are able to, stay in touch and reactivate our network to bring projects. So I can really tell if I would be advising someone, though your digital marketing properties are crucial for your success. Your diligent and great CRM process, if maintained, are crucial for your stability. So I would say invest them a lot. Having said that, the problem of this industry is not getting new projects, in my view, but is rather losing the customers that you had.
mm,
And for us, the bigger impact is not the fact that we cannot bring or close new business, which we do, or even if we're losing, we see the traction. It is rather the fact that some of our customers, frankly speaking, are not going to be on the market anymore because they go bankrupt, right? So that's for me, that's the bigger challenge for this period right now, how to find good sustainable customers that are willing to partner with you for a longer period of time, right? So it's a different question about, is this strategy or does it pay dividends? Yes, but does it uh, like mitigate the situation on the market? Not really. If you look at
Not
the
really, yeah.
problem of macro, right?
Yeah, but it's something that we can control. It's the content and what we write, and also and what we do, but also the brand. And I want to ask you about that because, okay, there are companies that are pushing a lot on the content right side, and they are ranked on SEO, and they are bringing this inbound lead, but they don't have the branding side, the brand effect that you guys have. So at what point in your whole growth history you realize that, okay, this whole just doing content game, it's not enough. We need to make sure that we are building our brand equity, because that way we can close better, right?
So that's a good question. Let me think for a moment, because I'm thinking, internally, to how would you answer the question? Why do we even need a brand, right? And
Yeah.
I will try to answer how I think about this, but then I will try to give perspective of others. So how I do think about this is, if you want to have an efficient go-to-market program, you need to make sure that the market can see you, basically that you're visible, that the market likes what they see, which means basically engagement. Once they like and see, they are willing to give you a chance, which basically means conversion onto sales conversation form or whatever. And then you can make money on top of this conversation, which means basically revenue and profit, right? So I always ask myself all those questions like, are we visible? Are we reaching out to right people, right? And if you go with a brand, the huge challenge for the whole sector of those professional services companies, that it's really, 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 really hard to stand up in terms of
Mm,
features or in terms of exact same thing from the customer perspective. You have young people with laptops, hitting the keyboard, and you get a GitHub code. On the outcomes,
mm,
everything looks pretty much the same. So how do you differentiate, make a difference? And I think you can make a difference by building compelling brand story and finding your niche. And for me, it was all about this branding. So basically, to answer a question, where do we play, who we are, to whom we want to be visible to. And for that, we've crafted a message, right? Our message was, we are a digital acceleration company. The thing I've coined with a team. The idea here is that we're not doing digital transformation. Digital transformation is done. Everyone is using email. Right now,
mm-hmm,
it's who does those things better and faster. So it's acceleration, right? And the other, our positioning was, we only want to work with global innovators. By innovators, we mean the people who are building those top startups, unicorns, so to say, or working on top end solutions in corporations. So we do not do, I don't know, simple outstaffing. We do not do legacy systems. We have our own niche, which we think is the most, viable one, hard to get. We have a moat because of the talent. So the brand was a designed thing to help us achieve our goals, to find our niche, to be visible at this niche, right? And when the execution of this brand, the goal was to, as you mentioned, to help sales, right? But not
mm-hmm,
only closing sales, because it's a one thing. I don't think that anyone closes on a brand itself. It can help, but the key is to give good value, but to be able to have a conversation with someone who is already visible, you are not a random person on the internet that wants something from you. And I think for this, we organized our efforts. For this, we are trying to build a brand, and I will say very proud about this what we've built and what we have achieved. In my view, with our system, we are able to get to almost any person on earth that fits our buying persona and ICP. It's just a matter of persistency. But we do not have challenges into getting in front of those people. The challenge is the value to be captured in this economy. Um,
Y- Radek, you speak with such a great clarity, but I'm sure that in this clarity and in realizing all these things, there was a journey of actually getting that knowledge and those experiences. I'm just curious about how you and how the team at NetGuru gets this knowledge to get to this level of understanding, to get to this level of clarity, because what you are saying reflects a lot of confidence, a lot of clarity on what you guys are doing, which comes usually from very good values, very good knowledge base and competencies. But to build those, we need experiences, right? So how did you guys gained those knowledges? Like, was it from customers that you worked with? Was it, books that you read, places you visited? How did you get to this level of understanding of your business?
now, I hope a lot of founders and CEOs are listening to me right now. And I hope a lot of employees are also on the call, especially my team members. For sure, travel, Romeo. Like everyone should travel every week to far away countries to meet customers. That's the number one thing. We need to spend on hotels, expensive hotels and flights. Um,
Go to Egypt to all inclusive. You will learn so much, right? Hurgada.
Totally. Yeah. I hope Alex is watching. Alex, I know you need to. I know you need
Yeah.
to go there. Just book this
Yeah,
flight.
some nice disco polo songs
Uh,
or
but in reality, you don't have to fly. I'm sorry. You can do it everything in front of your computer. So what helped us in or me to get this clarity? I think two things. The first one is um, the quality of people that we hired and we had on our teams, and my partners in crime. Those are like super talented, inspiring people, right? Like
mm,
I don't know, Kuba, Victor, Marek, who is not longer with us. Those are people when you clash with them and you try to do something, and they are very frank with their feedback and questioning. If you do this, and everyone is not afraid of discussing this open-minded, then you can build something, right? Without bullshitting yourself. So often I saw, and I sometimes advise companies, they say, oh, we need this brand, right? Or if we build brand, something will happen. Like you've just mentioned, like it will be easier to
yeah.
close if we have brand. And what we always did is like, okay, why? Because they will know us. So maybe call them and they will know you, but not like this. So like, what do you mean is a brand? Like, can you be precise? Can you define it? And I think we're really, really good or even harsh in defining those whys. Like, question everything, be very direct, be very, outspoken why we need this. Because if you cannot explain it, maybe we don't need this, right? So that's that. And the other thing which really, really, I think helps me, and I teach this um, a lot of people are guessing and are not talking with customers and are not empathic. By they do not try to understand what is the experience of the other side, right? So
Mm.
out of this, you can see all of those tactics like let's send a cold mailing with a breakout message at the end. Romeo, if you don't buy, I will stop mailing you right now.
Okay,
Right? Or
great.
let's add this very big red CTA. It will increase conversion 3 cents. Great idea. And people you know do those things, but they never ask a question Like, hey Romeo, if you are going to buy a, if you're going to hire a lawyer firm, could you walk me through the process? Why did you this? Why did you stop here? What's your thinking? Or okay, I saw you just talked with this company. Why not with the other one? And if you do this diligently, you will learn a lot. And then you can create processes that are, so to say, again, user friendly, not you friendly, user friendly. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of go to market teams I see, they talk all about their own goals, what they want to do. They talk about revenue goals. They talk a lot of, how we are going to achieve this number of, I don't know, SQLs, opportunities, whatever. They very rarely talk about what those people need. How do they buy? What do they get inspired by? Whom do they like? And if you do this well, then you can be, successful, right? The most For me, the most inspiring sessions were always with a people that were on our buyer ideal buyer persona list and in the ideal
Mm-hmm.
companies in our ICPs. I will give you
Mm-hmm.
two examples, which I love the most. One is a person that we chased for like 3 years using different tactics, which I won't disclose, but like a top level innovation expert in a top level company. And
Mm-hmm.
we did some pieces of content, we did some back and forth, conversations. And I thought, oh my God, it's out of reach. We will never have something, like, no way. What I was thinking, blah, blah, blah. And then I came to industry leading conference, which I had a panel. I was running the panel, which was exactly part of our playbook. And this person was there, and we were going on, passing the conference on the corridors, and he reached out to me like, "Hey, Radek, what's up? Hey, bro." And he spent like 1 hour with me. I've never seen him. I have no
Okay.
idea he knew who I am. And right, and he's like this, C-level guy who runs everything, knows everything, everyone knows him, like a superstar. And I asked him like, "Oh, you remember me?" Of course I remember you. And for me, it was like, so not only he remembers me, but he also remembers that I promised something to him and I did not deliver. And it told me, wow, you are really inspiring. And the other thing which really helped me is I had the newsletter. Unfortunately, I'm not doing it anymore, but I have to. And I thought this newsletter was a total disaster, like a bit
Mm-hmm.
fake. I couldn't like make myself to do it. Team was helpful, but I don't know. I wasn't convinced, right? It maybe because no one was, commenting, no one was replying, whatever. But if you talk with people, they say that you consume newsletters in silence. This is what they say,
Correct.
right? They do not click. They skim it. They
Yeah.
value the brief efficiency of your information, right? So I met this other key stakeholder in one of the key companies, and that person says to me, "It's such a miss that you're not sending this newsletter anymore, because the whole C-level team was subscribing, and we were forwarding this newsletter to the headquarters."
Mm.
And I was like, "Fuck me," but
Yeah,
but you
exactly.
but you will never know this in attribution systems, or it will never translate to a unlock is always talk with your customers, with your prospects, and ask them how they do stuff, not how you would like to do stuff, but what they want. And I think this can be a really, really huge unblocker for your business.
Yeah, and I think this is all about the people, right? Because in the Central Eastern European culture, we don't have the, you know, the sense of what you just said now, like give like straight feedback, like challenge all the time. um, go back and question everything, actually be interested in that person and what they do, leave the ego in the pocket, so on and so forth, right? So
Yeah.
I believe it's a cultural thing also. But
Yeah. No.
now let's go a little bit into the future,
Yeah.
because to end realistic or positive, or however you feel the market is like, but I need to ask you this question: if you would be to start
Yeah.
today a business, right? Like you are a recent grad and you are fascinated by all this building businesses, startups, so on and so forth, because you saw it on social media and on TikTok that it's super sexy, and you would like to build something, and you decide to do a software house because you are a
Yeah.
developer and you don't
Yeah.
know product yet that well, so you do this software houses business, so the same business. How would you tackle it in terms of growing this in this environment today? Would it be the same? Would it be different? Would you even care about the market? I think you lost me, but uh, hope you got my question.
Oh, you're back. Sorry, I've lost you for a moment. Could you repeat the last two sentences?
Yeah, I was just wondering if would it be something that you would do the same as you did Netguru, or you would change something, or
Yeah. So
is it repeatable?
it is not repeatable, right?
uh,
Because you know, do you know what is the best secret of a marketer?
I don't know. I suppose the customer insights. I have no idea.
It's market.
In the
Uh,
market, right? A
it's the
customer
market, right?
insights. Yeah.
Marketing only works if there is a willing buyer, right? For the product or a service that you provide. Without that, really, 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 really difficult, right? And you are in the right territory, that you are able to get the um, right traction to fill your commission, right? So if someone would say in 2024, I am starting a so-called software house, I would say like, good luck. Very saturated market with
Yeah.
a huge brands, really, really, really well driven, uh, highly competitive. Plus, the traditional clientele is under huge pressure. Basically, fiscally, a lot of those companies are going under, doing layoffs. So that's number one. Plus, in 2024, um, the how to say the talent market is totally different, right? Because people are used to getting hired into global companies remotely. So it's you don't have that easy price advantage, right? So either you are able to do something more complicated, unique in the niche, and deliver highly difficult, highly scoped projects that require some collaboration, or it might be very difficult for you to catch margins, right? And that would be frankly my advice, right? If I would be starting something right now, I would make sure that I understand the current market, and I would make sure that I understand which niche might be growing. Our bets are, of course, around the AI, which is clear.
Hmm.
But AI is a more of a consulting, less than development. Not everyone can do it. And I think the whole low code, no code, automation type of services, this is going to be a huge thing. But again, this is not as coding as delivering product value to your end customers. Um, Coding, like understood, like give me a manpower to code something right now, in my view, is under big pressure. Again, layoffs, so a lot of talent on the market, but plus AI, the efficiency is growing. So, and then there's not a lot of apps being built. So it's not an easy market in 2024, right? If it's going to change, I think it will. as the dot-com crash ended, and we started building software again, but it will be a different software. And again, I will compare this, how Netguru started. It was Ruby on Rails, which by let's say hardcore developers then was viewed as a toy. Like, it's not real coding. It's like low
Mm,
code. It's like, come on. It's not like proper assembler guy.
mm,
So come on. So it's the same right now, right? So
mm,
you always have to think about, the market where it's going. Do not copy what was working in the past, because you might be, going into the wrong direction, which is, not big enough, right? So that would be my number one advice. And the second thing is, and I'm not sure if everyone is seeing this trend. Hopefully, you will make mm, a hot clip for social media out of this quote.
please.
Yes. So we had this 10 years or 15 years of global companies hiring Polish engineering and design talent.
Mm-hmm,
What is going to happen, in my view, it's the same, but for the marketing, sales, and admin,
mm,
like accounting and similar. I think this is going to happen because the whole world learned about this, remote work, about remote payroll, that the fact that you have like huge teams locally or use agencies with great success. Now the question will be, okay, can we have can we use the same talent to sell stuff or to market stuff? And I see that. I see a lot of our partner companies, friend companies, they are hiring top talent, sales marketing talent here in Poland. A lot of NetGuru alumni are working for top brands remotely
mm-hmm.
by doing sales, marketing, employer branding on top positions, which is awesome to see. I think this might be the trend, right? How to build a company around this, it's not clear, because sales slash marketing slash admin agency is a different type of animal. But I think this might be interesting trend moving forward. And then there are a lot of agencies right now here in Poland that are working with local clients, like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
how whole Warsaw creative sector is working with local clients. Imagine what will
Mm-hmm,
happen if they will be working with Swiss customers.
mm-hmm. And I was thinking about these young professionals lately that there was a lot of, tech layoffs and now AI. And I was just wondering, how can we make more senior professionals if we don't hire them as juniors? Because to make them senior, you need to actually coach them. You need to actually invest in their development. So have that one on the job training, see more senior people, right? Because otherwise you are not able to develop. And that's why I'm asking about the entrepreneur, because I feel that it's so hard for these young people. So
Yeah,
uh, how do you
yeah.
see this in the market? Like, what should one company do to actually develop that? I don't know. I think when I'm speaking, it's just blocking.
Yeah.
The internet is blocked.
Now it's I heard you. That's a difficult one, right? Because I agree with a lot of things you've said, and I also had those thoughts. I chatted with a fellow industry colleague like a few weeks ago. Uh, During this era, we had tons and tons developers, designers, project managers working with global customers, learning the top processes, and then being able to join other companies, not agencies, but directly to the customers, or advance their careers, build their own teams, become entrepreneurs. And I think, especially if you see the best practices, it then goes back here to Poland in a lot of ways, right? One of examples, one of my colleagues was working in United States for global corporation building the best games. He started at CD Projekt Red here in Warsaw. He saw the half of the world, many regions, and right now he's going back to Warsaw to create his own studio. And he will, manage and hire a lot of game dev people, which is awesome. But sales, go to market people, I think the most successful ones in terms of revenue are or were working for agencies like, for example, Netguru. Not many of them were higher ups in or juniors in big startups, big SaaS companies,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the sheer number of talent is smaller. And I will give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that one of our customers, I asked them how do they do go to market, and they were like, it's like simple. We have SDRs and they have a script and they call. And I said, yeah, but how do you do this? How do you manage this efficiently? I don't know. We just hire 150 out of a school, and the 50 survives, and then we have another 150. And it's like 150 roles, right?
Yeah.
I think if you would count the roles it wouldn't be that much, and it was one company, right? So that's the thing that I do not see the sheer number of talent on this local market in terms of numbers. A lot of people basically they don't have to place to work or play as many places to work as in the States or in Berlin or in London, and this might be a blocker for them to grow
So, Radek, before we end, can you share a bit some of the resources where you learned from, so that we can steal that content and reverse engineer it, as you said?
Whew, let me think. Um, so so I liked all the books about professional services written by the so-called old farts before the digital even was feasible. Like the
Mm-hmm.
basics, like what is a
Mm-hmm.
professional services company, how it is run, what is a customer service, that kind of those things. Really, really important. And there are known publications around this. I can, if you write me on LinkedIn, I might shoot some links, or maybe I should write a post about it. So that's number one. The second thing which really really helped me in terms of not talking with clients but reading stuff is it was following the people I trust and I like on LinkedIn or Twitter, and basically observing what they have to say, chatting with them, um, you know, direct messaging with them, sometimes having a call. And practitioners, not people who are selling you something like stuff that they want to push on you, but rather think people who are running a unit somewhere, like real
Mm-hmm.
operators. So that was for me helpful. Then I have a folder with those links, like very deep down guides on some blog posts on Medium or other platforms when a practitioner describes his process very diligently. Like, how do I do this? Let me show you.
Mm-hmm.
This is my template. This is my walkthrough. Those are really, really helpful because then you can either steal or get inspired or get an understanding. What I think is not helpful or even can be by some viewed as a um, that can bring some damage are those general business advice books, which are
Mm-hmm.
which tells you basically, oh, how to run business or sales 101. without any concrete examples that do not offer deep down understanding of your niche, of your business. And they have like this general knowledge, like do follow-ups or like have a unique brand. Like really, thank you. Like no idea. This is very important. So they can be, in my view, really damageful. And one thing I observed, I always try to teach people is that understand if you are in professional services, it is not SaaS, it is not marketplace, it is not e-commerce. A lot of those stuff they do not apply to professional services. So a lot
Hmm.
of those, especially go to market outbound playbooks for SaaS, they have very exact templates, way of working. It won't work in professional sales. It won't.
Hmm.
The
Yeah,
same for
totally different.
reporting. It won't work in professional sales because in professional sales, in professional services, the ticket size differs. You can have a small audit and you can have a huge deal. It will destroy your metrics if you would apply the same things to a SaaS. So beware what type of book or guide you are trying to copy from, because if you're going to copy a marketplace type of go to market for a professional services company, the results might be really really bad.
Yeah, I think we saw that since 2016 because we work both with software houses and with SaaS, and kind of as an agency really understood the differences. And I must admit that the differences are very big, and that's why what I would suggest to everyone is to join the communities where these professionals are. So even if you go into, if you're into SaaS, to join a community with SaaS professionals in that space. But if you are in a software house, just join a Soda or IT Corner or whatever other uh, peer where you can find peers, right? Because that's where you can get the coach from, that's where you can get the mentor from, right? So I think that's important.
Yeah.
Great, Radek, thanks a lot for this. I don't know if you I would like to open it if you have some questions, because you mentioned before that sometimes you are on the other side of the uh, interviewing
Yeah, of course.
things.
So I have questions. Am I ICP for you? Is that group ICP for you?
You know that software houses is one of our ICP. So for sure, I would say that yes.
Am I marked in the
Um,
CRM and do I have next steps on me?
no, you don't have. We are not in that go-to-market motion. We are more into deliver content at all levels, and uh, the ones that want to raise their hand, they will raise their hand. If they
Uh,
want to buy from you, they know how to buy from you and how to find you. So don't worry about those conversion rates on your landing pages, right? Because if a buyer wants to buy, they know how to contact you.
so I love how early in the process you are, Romeo. Um, but but since we are having this conversation and I ask questions, what do you
Please,
do?
please.
What do you do if I'm if I'm a company similar to Netguru? What value would I get working with you?
First of all, I think it's all about the knowledge that we have in the B2B market, and I think in this audience of software houses. And guys, this is not scripted. Like, I didn't ask Radek to ask these questions, not at all to pitch. So I think I think that's one of the biggest know-how, and the fact that we really know the journey, the buying journey for software houses from A to Z, because we did it for so many companies, and because we live in HubSpot, so we know every small little detail of it. So any software house that uses HubSpot, it's a great match, and we can really bring that value.
Great, thank you for describing this. I hope there are listeners who are in this industry and will take action. We
Yeah,
just
Radek,
keep the form.
it was not planned. It was not planned. It's not about any pitch here. It's just about
No,
pure
no. So,
knowledge.
but the best marketing is that if you do not market yourself, but someone markets you for, for you. So this is what I'm trying to. This is what I'm trying to do
Well,
here.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I don't have any more questions. Thank you for having me here today.
Sure. So, guys, we will put the whole podcast also on all the streams like Apple, Spotify, and so on. If you go on podcast.man.digital, you will find your favorite way of listening to this. Maybe with the live, we had some internet breaks and so on. But if you want to listen to the clean version, for sure, check out podcast.man.digital and see you for the next one. We have some more episode coming in. If you want to go dive deeper into some SaaS businesses, bunch of them. You have Gong, you have Amplitude, you have HubSpot, you have Walnut. You have a lot of interesting SaaS companies out there to learn from. And thanks a lot, Radek. Tell us a resource. Where was the CTA? What's your CTA for the audience?
Uh, what's my CTA for the audience? It will be follow me on LinkedIn for humorous updates about everything interesting tips I won't ever share on public. Please do. You might learn something.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot, Radek.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
See you. Bye. Take care.
Bye bye.